When it comes to the world of voice acting, there are hundreds of different ways that you can get work. So many different ways that it might seem overwhelming. There are dozens of different platforms, different types of jobs that you can get, different agencies that you can go with. So today, we're just going to take some time and break it all down into an easy, digestible form so that you know where your options of looking for work are, the pros, the cons, the benefits, and my opinion on some of these platforms. First things first, let's start with social media. I've used social media in order to find typically indie projects in the past. So you have websites like Instagram or applications. Instagram, you have X, formerly known as Twitter, you have Threads. These are platforms in which you can search for casting calls. I typically just use the search function and I will find casting calls. Now, the pro is that it's generally pretty easy to find casting calls. A lot of people use it under the hashtag casting call, or if you're on the shorts feed, you can find people who are looking for voice actors or actors to audition for their projects. But the con with this is typically that it is unorganized and they're typically lower end, low budget projects. Unless you have something like a cattle call for a bigger project where they're just looking to see as many people as possible, social media is the lowest rung of where I typically look for a job. Next up, you have general freelancing websites. These are your websites like Fiverr and like Upwork to a certain degree. Now, the thing that I enjoy about Fiverr and Upwork is that they are free to play. You go on, you make your own profile, and then you're put into a marketplace. One of the difficulties that I find is that it can be harder for people to generally find you, and you typically have to play by these platforms' rules. I was on Fiverr for a number of years as a voice actor. Now, another issue, another con, is that these websites also aren't set up natively for voiceover, and it can be seen as a race to the bottom. You have a lot of people setting their rates. I mean, Fiverr was basically founded on the principle that you can just pay $5 and you can get a gig done. With voiceover, that's how we start to lower the actual rates and lower the expectation of rates, of livable wages that a lot of voice actors like myself, like you, are getting at. So what I would highly suggest is that if you are signing up for these platforms, you go onto GVAA, which is they have a rate guide, and it will allow you to see what the general rates are for voice actors and charge those rates. You will find clients. I've found clients time and time again that pay industry standard rates. They sign contracts, and we do everything in a more formalized method, even though Fiverr doesn't typically set you up for success. Now with Upwork, it's been a number of years since I've been on Upwork, but it was kind of in the same vein. You can set up a profile, you can have people essentially come to you, and then you bid on jobs. You get a free number of credits each month, I believe, and it costs credits in order to bid. You can buy more credits to bid more times if you'd like, but it's essentially free to have a profile on that platform. Next up from there are what you probably know the most. These are the voiceover specific websites. And we'll split this up into free to play and pay to play. Right now, let's start with the free to play. There are a couple of options. There's Casting Call Club is a free to play website. There is Voquent is a free to play website. And those are the main two that I know of. Casting Call Club and Voquent, you can go on, upload samples, and they are very voiceover specific. So although Casting Call Club typically has lower end, more independently produced projects, it is still voiceover specific. So the client understands what they're looking for, they know what they're getting, and you don't have to over-explain and over-analyze. You can set up your profile, you can audition freely, and you can do things of that nature in a voiceover specific capacity, which is really great. When it comes to Voquent, I have worked on Voquent's platform for a number of years. They're a wonderful platform. I absolutely love Voquent. It's just like Casting Call Club. You set up your profile, and in this marketplace, it essentially is your profile is put in front of people who are seeking you. The more you fill out your profile, the more that you will rank, essentially. The more filled out your profile is, the more that the search engine will know, okay, you do commercial really well, or you have character voices, or you do this, that, and the other. And it will rank you higher so that when a client is looking for African American, character voice, video game, ages, this, you will come up higher on the search rank. Clients will be able to listen to you, give feedback, and send an audition. Now, the audition doesn't go directly to you. It goes through a representative. I have an account manager who is my representative, and if somebody wants to work with me, she will reach out on my behalf, and she's basically like the middleman in all of these, the auditions and the actual projects. Aside from that, once we actually hop into the project, it's one-on-one, and then I will send them the invoice, and then I will get paid from Voquent. The money doesn't go directly to my bank account, so they basically act as the middleman. It's a wonderful platform. It's a wonderful thing to just get signed up for if you are a voiceover artist and you're just getting into the industry. Those are the two free-to-plays, and now let's move on to the ones that everybody really knows, the pay-to-plays. We're talking Voices, Voice123, Bodalgo, and I'm probably going to forget some, so I'll wrap back around if I do. Voices, Voice123, and Bodalgo are specifically voiceover websites, with Voices and Voice123 kind of being the top dogs in the industry for a very long time. There have been some practices from both of these websites that have damaged their reputations over the years. This is not the time to specifically talk about it. We are talking specifically about what you need to know. With Bodalgo, it's a relatively low cost of entry. There's a monthly fee that you can pay, or I believe it's $150 for the year. You should go and definitely check them out to see what it is. But with Bodalgo, it's very straightforward. You sign up, you get auditions that are registered and ranked towards what you say you are. So African American, male, this is my age range, this is the timbre of my voice, this is what I've done in the past. They send you auditions, and then you handle everything. You speak with the client, you take them off website, you make them a client for the rest of your life. You do whatever you want to work specifically with that client. Bodalgo is just a very good job board, essentially. It's a wonderful website. Now we're going on to Voices and Voice123 by extension. You see, Voices is, I believe, $500 a year, but you can typically get a discount down to $395. You can typically find different coupon codes floating around, and they are kind of in the same vein. You fill out your profile, you get a lot of auditions, you go through and you do the auditions. Now, one of the big issues that I find is that they kind of, and by kind of, I mean they do, charge you that fee, the cost of entry, and then they take 20% from every job that you do. So in that case, it is a little bit like double dipping. You know, not only are you paying, but you're paying for the yearly, and the client pays. So there's a lot of money that's changing hands. But I have worked on Voices, I have gotten work from Voices, and it is possible. It is a numbers game. You do a lot of auditions, and you do a lot of good auditions, and eventually people will start to find you. The more that you succeed on the profile, the higher you will be ranked. It's just like all other profiles. They're mostly algorithmically driven nowadays. The last website in this, before I talk about the kind of the holy grail and the best option in my opinion, is Voices123. Voices123, much like Voices, is a yearly fee. It starts at $99 and then it goes up from there. Basically how they do it is it's a trickle-down effect. So if I submit and I say I want to cast a male voice actor, it'll go first to the people who paid the highest if there are people who match my specifications. If they don't audition in a certain time frame, it'll go down to the next tier, and then the next tier, and then the next tier, and then the next tier. So the idea is by the time it gets down to the $99 tier, which is like the 7th or 8th tier, there are crumbs left. There's not a lot because it's already trickled down through every single other tier before it gets down to that tier. Now, secondarily, within that, there is another thing. If you audition for projects and the client doesn't either like it, shortlist you, visit your profile and like your profile, give positive signals, then you will be placed lower within your tier. Yes, it's rather confusing, but that's the way that their tiered algorithmic system works. So if I pay for the second tier and there are 7 people in it and I'm number 1, and I audition for 3 things, and none of the clients shortlist me, none of them like my profile, none of them like the audition, then I, instead of being number 1, might go down to number 5, which means that I don't get the audition opportunity first, I get it 5th within that tier before it goes down to the next tier. It's a little bit confusing. It's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't like the ranking system because it's not based on something that you can control. A lot of clients, even if they give you the job, but they don't like your audition, that might still go against you. So there are a lot of cons. The pro, however, is that voices 1, 2, 3 don't touch none of your money. So once you do a gig, you get to keep all of it. You also get to chat one-on-one with the client. You get to exchange information. You get to give them your phone number, your email. You can take them off platform. You own the relationship with your client unless you decide to have basically the platform hold the money until the job is done so that you have peace of mind that the client won't stiff you. That's never happened to me in my 5 years being in this industry, but if that's something that you're worried about, they will hold the money for you, and in that case, they do take a percentage. I'm not sure what it is. It might be 15, might be 20%. But they will take a percentage and a cut if you decide to go that way. But a lot of professionals like Voice 123 because there is no room for error. If you know what you're doing and you're on your stuff and you audition very well and you own that relationship and there is no percentage cut, it's a better platform for professionals who are very competitive in what they do. And they know themselves, so they're not just going to audition for everything that comes their way. So that is kind of the tiered ranking system. Now, I said that there was a number one, a holy grail, and that is agency representation. I am represented by the two amazing ladies over at Eris Talent right now, Michaela and Maria. They both love them both to death. They got my back. I love Eris Talent, and they are incredible people to work with. The reason why I say that agency representation is kind of the top tier, the top rank of what we're doing here, is that every other platform that I specified today is working mainly on lower end productions. They're working mainly on lower end productions because they're putting it, and they're typically non-union, because they're putting it through these platforms in order to either try and save on budget in a lot of cases, not go the union route in a lot of cases, not every case of course, not go the union route, or they're trying to just find somebody who can do a voice. All of these are fine. But if you're looking for motion pictures, film, animation, AAA video game, you're mostly going to find them through agency representation. Not saying that it's impossible. I found some AAA video games when I was working on Fiverr. But most of the time it's going to be through agency representation. And the reason why is, if you have an agent, that means that you have been vetted. It means that you know what you're doing. It means that you're competitive. And as a casting director, if I send it to an agent, I know that I'm already going to have to listen to 100 people. I don't want to listen to 1,000 people and 900 of them be bad and only 100 of them be good. So if I'm sending it to an agent, I know I'm going to have 100 qualified, highly trained actors that I have to listen to find the one right one versus finding good ones to then separate and then find the one right one. So if you're looking for top level work, if you're looking for mainstream video games, movies, animation, dubs, they're mostly through agency representation. There's a last thing that I didn't talk about, and that is getting on a roster. A lot of the time, dubs, let's take dubbing for example, they are not necessarily done through the union, SAG-AFTRA. If you're working with Crunchyroll, a lot of them are done out in Texas, and they don't want anything to do with the union. So you can get on a roster with production companies, and it's an internal roster where they know that these people are trained, so they will give them a shot before it goes out to the wider list. Aside from that, if you get into some of these productions, they just keep you because they know that you're good. They know that you're quality. They know what you can do. So a couple of people who I know have rosters. If you want to find some, you look up casting directors and you see if they have an open roster. You can just search for them on Google. Casting directors typically have websites. You can go on their website and see if they have a roster, submit your information, and see if you get accepted to the roster. That's how I have found work as well. I'm on rosters, and it is free to join a roster. It is basically just a list of qualified people that they can reach out to at a moment's notice so that they can have an internal list without going through an agency. All of these are different ways in the voiceover industry that you can start to find work. Whether you are doing social media, just freelance general websites, free to pay or free to play, pay to play, you're doing rosters, or you're doing agency represented work. These are all different ways that you can learn to hone your craft and work doing the thing that you love, which is voice acting. And I hope that this video was helpful to you, and if it was, I have a free tier over on Patreon where I do scene study, script analysis, things to make you a better voice actor so that you can actually land these jobs. So check in the description box down below. It is 100% free unless you would like to sign up for a higher tier to get some more perks. And like I say every single time, get outside, drink some water, read a book of poetry for God's sakes. It'll change your life. And stay creative.